everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
Today we're taking a look at a two-player game called Skirmish, Battle for Draconia.
There you go. Skirmish, Battle for Draconia.
This is from eclectic designer Jeffrey CCH, who has he's really running the gamut with his game designs.
Yeah, in a short period of time, he's made everything from an asymmetric one versus all to a combat game. Yeah, to
a civilization game.
Yeah,
he made a little party game about deduction. He's really making all sorts of things. They don't always hit for me.
Right.
But I'm always interested in a two-player tactical back-and-forth game with different factions.
Yeah.
It's a decently filled genre.
And this does play more than two. You can play 2 to 4, but it's really just an adaptation of the two-player. It's the same thing, more or less. So we're going to be focusing on the two-player version of this. I'm going to be showing you a two-player overview of it. But just think, opening that up.
Yeah, I think it's like you attack the person on your left, and they attack the person on their left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at it, and we'll be right back. In the game, you win in one of two different ways. You either eliminate your opponent's life total, of which we begin with 10 each, or if you kill 8 of their units and they're here next to the graveyard, then you also win that way, and the game will end immediately. You claim victory. Now, to set up the game, you're going to pick a faction. You are going to give yourself some starting cards, and then a few more from the shuffled deck. You set up your player board in front of you. Somebody has the starting token, and you are ready to begin. You also have a board over here, or a card over here, that shows you every unit that's in your deck. You could give that to your opponent if you want to, or just make it available on the table so that you both know what's in the deck, what's likely to come up. It tells you everything, their values, their attacks and defenses, symbols, and then how many copies of that thing are in your deck. As you can see, they're very small decks, about 17 cards or so. And you are ready to begin. So every round, you are going to go through a few different phases that are seen in the back of the rule book here. And basically, you keep doing this until somebody wins. The very beginning there is deploy phase, where each player from their hand is going to play one card face down into each of their 3 zones. Once both players have done that, then we go to the order phase, in which we determine the turn order. So normally, this player is likely to go first, but we have to reveal the cards that have that symbol on them, and whoever has the most of those symbols is the player who's going to go through their action phase first. So if there's a tie or neither player played any of that, then we're going to default to this. So you look at your cards here, see if you have any of those symbols. If you have them, you reveal them. So there's one symbol there on these lions, and then my opponent has one there they have to show. We take a look at it. Okay, no. So they reveal their one. I happen to also have played one. We have 1-1. I'm going to be the start player. And then we go to the next phase here, the action phase. During the action phase, there are 2 things you have to decide. The first one is the arrow strike. This is sort of a pre-combat, pre-action step, if you would. During the arrow strike, you can choose to reveal any units you want to, starting from me, the start player, whoever is faster. And then I am going to use that total to shoot one of the units across the table. So I don't have any arrow units, any archery, so I would skip that part and go right to the next thing, in which I'm going to do my action, which is one of 3 different possibilities. Now, players have in front of them this card here that is going to show you the symbols, the ones that are common to all the factions and the ones that are specific to factions, every faction having one special thing they do. So you're going to have this, but you're also going to have this card here that shows you on the back the different kinds of actions you may do. And they are pretty simple. You can do a skirmish action, which means attack everywhere, as long as there is someone across from you. The other one is a cautious attack. You want to do that because you're worried about your opponent having these symbols on their cards, which means that someone that's going to ambush you back. That would be bad. I'll show you what that is in a second. Or you can just rest and take 2 of these supply tokens, which you'll be able to trade in for various abilities shown at the bottom here. And so I have no archery. I can decide which thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take a look at my cards here, and I'm going to say I'm going to do a cautious attack. I'm going to do one attack. I'm going to say here is my attack. If this is unrevealed, I reveal it. I am then going to, if my opponent's card is unrevealed, I would reveal that. Now this card here shows that ambush symbol. If I had attacked this with a normal skirmish, and I choose the order, by the way, one at a time. Let's say I had done that, and this was my first attack. If I'd done a normal skirmish, my opponent reveals a card that has the ambush. They cancel the attack against me. I don't attack, and instead I lose 1 life. Terrible. But I did a cautious attack. So I picked the right place. I attack them. I'm canceling that symbol. That's not working. And I check my attack versus their defense. 4 against 2 on their defense. That means I'm destroying that creature, and there's 2 that spills over the extra, and it comes out of their life total. This goes away, and this unit is destroyed and goes next to the graveyard. And that's my only thing. Because I did a cautious attack, I attack in one place only. Now that I'm done with the action step, it goes to my opponent, who was second in speed. And they will, first of all, check the archery values. They may choose to reveal any more archers that they have. You don't have to, but you may choose to. And now their total archery here is 2. They pick 1 card, and they shoot arrows at that thing. So, for example, they could do this one. They know that this one has a defense of 0. And so the 2 that spills over hits me over here in my life total. And this is dead. And now that the archery step is over, they pick their action. They can do, again, a skirmish, where they attack everywhere, cautious attack, or this rest step. So taking a look here, they're going to be attacking here for 1, not great. This attacks for 4, they'll do that. They're going to attack right here, cautious, only 1. We reveal that. That's hitting for 4, minus the 2 being blocked. I lose another 2 life there, and this is dead. And now that we're done with that step, the action step, we go to the next step here, which is the backline phase. Any units left on the board now, if they have any of the specific symbols that trigger during the backline phase, we would deal with that. So for example, this one over here has that symbol. I get 1 of those. This one over here has that tower. That one goes right here. And that's going to give a bonus to the next round's unit that sits right there, defensive bonus of +1. This I'll talk about in 1 second. You can do a couple different things with it. That's it for the backline phase. Now we go to the camp phase. During the camp phase, you are going to take all the units that survived and put them in the camp over here, and they will be out, basically. But before you do that, you can bring 1 of them back from the camp back to your hand. Obviously, during the first round, there's no such thing, but later on, it could matter. And so this is out over here. These 2 are out over here. Now, I talked about these symbols, these tokens, these supply tokens. One of the things you can spend them for is right here, and that is spending 1 of them to take back an extra card from the campfire. So if you have more cards you'd like back, you can spend these for that. You can also spend these to put them here in these spaces and giving the unit that ends up there this upcoming round +1 attack. And you can also spend 2 of them, if you have 2 of them, to gain back a life to your life total, because as you can see, they go away quickly. So perhaps I will just save that one for now. And that'll be that for the camp step. We now go to the upkeep phase, which is the last one, in which we each draw 2 cards from our decks into our hands. And then we pass the first player token to the other player. And we go through it again, picking cards, revealing the speed symbols, seeing who goes first. That player can do an archery phase, then a main action, one of these 3 things. Then the other player will do that. And then we clean up, take 1 back and put the rest back in here, draw a couple cards, switch the first player again. So that is the basic game. And like I said, the way to win is knock your opponent out or kill 8 units, and that's also a winning condition. Now, what you're seeing here is the basic game. And again, I was skipping purposefully special symbols that these factions have, but they do have unique symbols that mean special things to these different players, and that's right here. So, for example, this faction's special ability happens to be that when a unit survives that has that symbol, you deal 1 damage directly to your opponent. So if it's still there at the end of the round, before it goes to the campfire there, they hit me for 1. Pretty nasty. And then my side over here has that symbol there, which is this one. When this unit survives, it's a similar concept. It's about a surviving unit. You restore 1 health, or you retrieve a basic unit from the graveyard. So these guys are able to raise the dead, if you would. And there's all sorts of things. There's one that if you get eliminated, you kill the guy back. There are some that you can, when something's blocked, you can swap that unit with another unit from your hand. Various things like that modify the game. Now, above and beyond that, you can also choose to play with one of these locations, and every faction in the game comes with 2. They're going to modify the victory points you begin with, the life points you begin with. Instead of it being 10, it might be 8, for example, if I choose to start with this card. But then I have a special ability. It might even be a different way to win. This has a different way to win. But it might just be a new ability, a new faction thing that you do above and beyond those symbols on those cards. And like I said, every faction in the game is going to come with 2 of these, and you can choose to use that, or you can choose to just leave that alone and play just one faction versus the other one. So there you go. That should give you an idea of how the whole thing comes together. Let's go ahead and go back up top.
We often complain that games are too long.
Yes.
Skirmish is not. Skirmish is almost the game I might play with somebody to determine who goes first in the next game.
It's close, right? I mean, it's a very short game. It's also it's a really subtle game, and I struggled with that a little bit the first time I played. It's a very slight is maybe the right word. It's sort of a slight game. It's a slender game. It's very short. There's not a lot going on as far as not even layers, because I think the game has some interesting, layers to it, but it's a slight, if I was thinking of a fantasy creature for this game, it would be an elf. It is slender and thin and kind of moves quickly.
I like how it looks. I like the art. I especially like the champion leader cards where there's a little bit of foiling on them. But not
gorgeous.
But not much, so it's easy to know which ones they are, but you also don't get distracted by it and have to tilt it so you can read it.
Yeah, it's really lovely foiling. They did a fantastic job with not just the artwork, but those details, that little bit of an enhancement. Man, it's a good-looking game.
And it seems like a minor thing, but having a card in your deck that tells you all the cards that are in your deck that you can give to your opponent and they can sit there and go, these are the possibilities of what I'm fighting, really helps.
Yeah. Though I do wish they would have included a turn breakdown.
Yeah.
That's not just on the back of the rulebook. You saw in the overview the back of the rulebook there, I think. I wish that there was. Just give me one of those too. I want to see that turn structure because it's not trivial.
It's a little bit of a bluffing game in a sense. You're putting down some units and you have to decide, do I put units down for speed?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to put down, am I going to put down units that I'm hiding from the other person? Am I going to do the single attack or the multi-attack? What am I going to do there?
Even where you put it, and again, it's maybe even like a double bluff, but it has that feeling of last time I put the guy I was trying to sneak through on the right, maybe this time I'll put it on the left. Sometimes it does matter. A unit can influence the things next to it, so sometimes that'll come into play. Oh, I bet. Maybe they put the guy in the middle that gives +1 to the neighbors. Okay, I'm on to you. But the game has a healthy dollop of luck also on top of that because of those things. Now, that's not as problematic because, like we said, it's very short. You shuffle up and play again, honestly, if that comes up and bites you.
30 to 60 minutes.
I think maybe for 4 players, but in a 2-player game,
this is a 10-minute game for sure.
This is a 20-minute game comfortably.
Right.
And so, I think my biggest detraction of the game is that there isn't always a good indicator as to why you would put a card on the left versus the middle versus the right. That feels close to meaningless.
The only thing I can think of is sometimes you put the guy who gives +1 to people in the middle.
Yes.
But I know that you know that. Also, because you have lanes, you'll put a defense in the ones that have defense, so then that lane matters more.
Sure.
Which, there's just 3 lanes. Yeah. I don't think the left, right, middle matters that much.
Yeah.
I will say, I feel like the game comes with these bases you can use.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should. They don't add that much, but they give you a little... you have 2 special abilities then. You have the one on your base, and then you have the one that's naturally on your cards. I would not be interested in playing with the deck building per se, because I like that I know your faction has 1 special ability, and I don't want to have to remember 4 different and figure out Again, I like looking at the card and knowing what you have.
Yeah, I agree. That seems almost reserved for if I have a copy and you have a copy, I build my own deck and bring it to you and you have your own deck.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I agree. I'm not interested in that. I'm fighting those guys. Those guys are good archers, or those guys are crazy and they'll poison me, or whatever. And so it loses personality if you start deck building, in my opinion. But I love that every faction has a thing they do. And as long as you're not deck building, they do that thing that nobody else can do. They bring guys back from the dead or whatever. That's neat. I would not recommend you play with the faction. I don't know if I would recommend you play with the base immediately. Because I do think you should learn what like the guys you pick to do. But it's nice that it's in there. Yeah, it's nice that it gives you a little something extra. Like, hey, now I do this also. And so that's neat. It's an it's a quirky one to recommend because I think if you like dueling games, you might like it, but be aware this is a very slight one, and it is one that is lucky in many ways, maybe even luckier than a lot of other games that take two factions and pit them head to head.
I think the thing is let's compare this to my favorite game in this genre currently is Summoner Wars.
Yeah.
That game, you're tactically moving around a map, is also luck-filled. There's dice rolling. There's the cards you draw from your deck. But the game is 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And because it's 30 minutes, that luck seems to balance out over the course of the game. This one lucky downturn can make you lose on a turn, which isn't a huge problem since I can just go, oh, well, shrug my shoulders and play again. And it almost feels like that if you took rock, paper, scissors, and then 10 times the complexity of that, because it is definitely complexity of one, right? But so 10 times higher, and it's like a little bit more than that. That's where it's at, and I like it for that. I'm giving it a 7. I think it's enjoyable. I think there's a lot of interesting things you can do with it, but it's definitely a warm-up for me or a cool-down game. Mm-hmm. It's not ever going to be the main game I play. It's a game that I like. I think it's very interesting, has some cool concepts, and I'll play it while I'm waiting for other stuff.
Yeah. I'm coming in slightly higher at a 7.5, actually. And I agree with everything you're saying. I do think this could be a fun game for someone whose meat and potatoes is not dueling games to get a little sample of dueling games.
Might be a good lunchtime game.
Yeah, that too. I said meat and potatoes, and Tom thinks lunchtime.
Yes, so. I do.
That makes sense.
I had a salad.
So it has that feel, and if you do play with the same person or persons a lot, you guys will get to know the factions. You'll discover some of that subtlety. But it's solid. I worry about the luck a little bit. Production-wise, tremendous. Kudos to the company. And I think it's a good one. I have a lot of skirmish kind of games, so this might get buried. But if not, then this is a neat one. There you go, 7.5.
That's Skirmish Battle for Draconia. Look what time it is on the cover with the swords. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
We'll see you at the battlefield. Hey, thanks for watching another video here on the Dice Tower. We really appreciate you stopping by and checking our things out. Thanks so much for joining us today. And hey, if you really like what we're doing here at the Dice Tower, then there are different ways to support the Dice Tower. One of those ways is through Patreon. We have links in the description of this video, and we have links to lots of other things we do down there, so definitely check it out. But either way, we're glad you watched us. Tell your friends about the Dice Tower. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vasel, and I hope you enjoyed this video.